All right, so we started our session off today with some geographic considerations, looking at populations across the globe. And then we went in and learned a lot about these different aspects of generation and age and how these can result in intricacies with respect to privacy. And so now Lan Jing, she is a PhD student, first year at Virginia Tech, is going to lead us into understanding a bit more about these generations, specifically with respect to family-based privacy education. Take it away.
Hi everyone, my name is Lanjing Liu and I'm a first-year PhD student from Virginia Tech. Today I'd like to share our study about integrating family privacy education and informal learning spaces. And big thanks to my co-authors Lan, Nikita, and Yaxin. Before talking about our research, let's start with a quick poll. For those of you who have kids in your family, have you ever told your child not to tell other people their personal information, such as passwords? Yeah, thank you. But does it work? Have you ever noticed that your kids share their passwords with other people right after you tell them not to? That points to an interesting long-lasting phenomenon, sometimes even a paradox about children and privacy. On the one hand, children are getting more attached to various technologies such as social media, iPads, smartphones, and so on. But on the other hand, children generally lack essential knowledge about privacy, for example, what they can and cannot share with other people online, what would happen if they share their personal information. Additionally, they also lack the ability to make informed privacy decisions. As a result, they may put themselves into a risky situations due to the loss of privacy, such as cyber grooming, which is not ideal. So as privacy researchers, we acknowledge the urgent needs of privacy education for children to facilitate their understanding of privacy, enhance their ability to make informed privacy decisions, and protect themselves. The community has proposed many ways to carry out privacy education for children. For example, Kumar stressed children's privacy literacy through contextual integrates, and the Cola Hero apps is aimed to enhance children's cognitive and critical thinking about online data privacy risks. From our perspective, this practice has some critical limitations. For example, they just focus on isolated targets, means that most of those efforts were aimed at children or teenagers only, rather than including those around the children or teenagers. So when children seek help, little help is available because many adults also lack privacy literacy. Additionally, they focus on short-term goals, and most of them provide a one-time learning experience rather than a long-term learning progress. Finally, the majority of existing education focusing on online privacy only, given the everywhere use of technologies in both online and offline world, it is important to focus on not just online privacy, but also offline privacy. Then question becomes, how do we do that? In searching for ways to bridge these gaps, we noticed that a promising way to engage children in active learning about technology literacy in general. Here are two examples. The first example is about teaching children about robotics and computer programming at the Boston Museum of Science. And another example is about developing families' AI literacy in museums. These digital education programs in museums or other informal learning spaces target family groups and have their effectiveness in supporting children's learning. In our research, we would like to extend the idea of informal learning spaces to privacy education and see if we can leverage the affordance in informal learning spaces such as museums and libraries for purpose of privacy learning to enhance children's privacy literacy. This work presents an initial exploration of this idea, aiming to identify the design opportunities for family-based privacy education in informal learning spaces. We have the three research questions. The first one is how do families conduct privacy education and what are the characteristics and challenges involved? And the second is how do family groups utilize informal spaces for interactive learning? Based on the two questions, we also wanted to know the design opportunities existing for privacy education within informal learning spaces. To answer the research questions, we conducted an interview study with 8 families in the US. Here is some demographic information of the families. For details of our methodology, including some ethical considerations in the study, please refer our paper. For the first research question, we found that there are 4 characteristics and 4 challenges for family-based privacy education. For this talk, I will focus on the challenges and discuss how informal learning spaces can be well suited to help families overcome them. The first one is the tension among different family members. Both parents and children crossed each other's boundaries. For example, some children checked their parents' phone, and of course, many parents check their children's digital devices as well. So many children complained about their parents' overprotection. The second challenge for parents to effectively discuss privacy with their children is the complex contextual nature of privacy. In this example, the parents felt that the idea of privacy is closely connected to the children's experience in real life, and without understanding their experience, simple talking about privacy may not be as effective. In fact, parents typically don't have the experience to provide enough privacy knowledge, and there is a lack of support of parents to learn how to teach privacy for their children. Aside of this, they also discuss with the other parents or search on social media for help. Compared to various privacy issues and scenarios, parents had very limited educational support available to them. Most of parents rely on themselves to explore how to teach their children about privacy. It also brings about limited educational methods. As we said earlier, most family privacy education is through conversation, which can easily lead to some emotional conflicts. Then we will try to investigate how families use the informal learning spaces. We found some characteristics of informal learning spaces and make them a promoting option to address the challenges mentioned before. For the second research question, we'd like to understand whether and how families utilize informal learning spaces for family-based learning, which may potentially provide a new possibility for family-based privacy education. The findings from our interview indicated a widespread acknowledgement among both parents and children regarding the effectivity of informal learning spaces. Families enjoy voluntary quality family times, enriching learning, and ongoing influence in informal learning spaces. First of all, informal learning spaces warranted quality family times. As you can see in this example, when families visited these places, they tended to explore together, take photos, interact with experts, and actively participate in discussions. This interaction offered a great time for families to explore a conception as a group and learn it together. All families we interviewed explore informal learning spaces where they took photos, they interact with the experts, and during these family conversations, family members, especially children and their parents, exchange their learning outcome, promote learning for each others. Also, compared to the classrooms, they enjoyed enriching learning in informal learning spaces, especially kids. They enjoyed playing the models and children-friendly competitions. The learning experience in informal learning space was not a one-time event, but lasts a long time. For example, most families would have relevant conversation after their visit, sharing what they learned today. Now, coming back to our initial idea of using informal learning spaces for privacy education for families. When we put them together, they generate a lot of teachable moments, and we have seen such evidence in our data again and again. Based on these findings, we provide some design opportunities for providing privacy education within informal learning spaces from these 4 aspects. In addition to the finding and the results of our work itself, I would like to share a reflection on the approach to interview parents and child pairs. There are a lot of considerations to take account when design a research study that involves children and parents. For example, should we recruit participants from the same family or from different families? Should we interview them separately or together? If we do it separately, should we interview children first or should we interview the parents first? I won't go to the detail here. We have an in-depth discussion on the pros and cons of each approach in our paper. Please see it if you are interested. Thank you for your time and thank you for making it to the end. I'm happy to take questions.
All right, who would like to go first?
Thank you for such a interesting presentation. I'm a parent of a 4-year-old and an 18-year-old, so I feel I'm at both ends of the spectrum. And one of the things I remember with my own daughter when discussing cybersecurity and privacy was using the word secret. However, we've taken a very consent-based approach to her education, and we've always said to her that we don't keep secrets because there's scope for abuse. However, so much of cybersecurity information in schools is about keeping secrets, and this has been that was quite a challenge for us. So I just wondered if you have any insights, because I have a 4-year-old who will eventually be using these things, and I'm keen to see how you would solve that.
Okay, thank you for your questions. And regarding the educational methods for children about the privacy education, we will consider to bring the concept into some. I can give an example about it. So we will consider. Some design opportunities such as tangible devices, gamification, and immersive exhibition that offer interactive and enriching learning about privacy. For example, we can show the data flow among smart home devices that can be visualized as light signals through LED lights, and the children can see, the company has my secrets, the third-party company has my information, so they can realize how their information will be collected and be used, and something like that. I hope it makes sense.
Down here.
So thank you for the presentation. I had a question as to, did you consider during the research things like other incentives for children? So as a parent, for example, and Hamid isn't in the room, but for example, my children use Brave all the time, not partly because it's for privacy, but partly because it helps them get around YouTube ads and things like that. And actually, that seems to be a much bigger incentive than just simply talking about privacy, and that is the starting point for the conversation, and then the additional benefits. So did you see those kind of scenarios in your work?
Thank you for your question. When we interviewed with the parents, they also told us about something related to the cybersecurity and privacy, and the parents usually talk about both things with their parents at the one time, but in our research, we focus on privacy education because we want to learn more about how they consider their privacy online and offline. But in the future, we will consider the direction of research. And we will do some such as co-design workshop with children and their family to get more design implement about how to deliver a privacy education for them.
Just as a last question, and it might be something you weren't able to look at, but I was wondering, when you're approaching these things and trying to see how to inform kids and families about privacy, I was wondering if you were able to observe any relationship to whether the kids and families in questions had, say, multiple kids. And I'm mostly thinking from the perspective of, say, being a sibling and having younger or older siblings. They tend to develop variations of their own boundaries, and whether that can be used to help guide this kind of process.
Yes, we have a very interesting siblings in our interview. So the siblings help each other to stop their parents to control their smartphones or their tablets, and they would be each other's teachers, and they learn from each other. So it would be better to consider siblings as the learning partner for each other, I think.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's thank the speaker.